Grand Rising, everybody. Happy Thursday to you all. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co host, Trey Holiday. And you guys know I got to bring my guy right over there, Big O, into it. How are you, Big O? Happy Thursday, my friend.
Well, yeah, happy Thursday to you, Trey Holiday. How are you?
I'm well, man. Making it through the week. How about you?
You're making it through the week to what appears is going to be a very cold weekend. So, it's a lot of cold weather's on the way. Man, we just been getting 2020 the whole 2020.
So cool.
Man, it's been a wild one. Great show lined up for you today. We got Besa. Happy to announce that Besa is joined our team. We've got a new show called The Rewind with Besa. She recorded her first segment last night with Steve Severin of Keep Music Live Washington, and so Besa's going to be joining us for a second talking about that. Also, producer, director, photographer extraordinaire Carlos Imani. Carlos Imani will be joining us later on in the show to talk about the latest episode of Vote Black Love 2020. We're all excited about that as well. A few things before we jump into the news. So yesterday, we had a comment in around this discussion around this task force, right? And this is good. You see, I mean, this is who would think that like community media is able to get these responses and reactions. You know, we had child and youth family services hit us right back about this issue with these foster kids. We had City Hall hit us right back yesterday. Here it is. And so they're breaking down remember it was LIHI, and you're like, somebody made a comment. It was like, okay, Lehigh was able to get not really emergency funds, but funds right away. Sorry, everybody. We just barely made it into the studio before time. So it says here, this is from the office of the mayor, Kamaria Hightower. Let's see here. They're basically saying that HSD, that who contract them, utilize sole sourcing or direct contracting instance where a single agency provides services to a specific population, those who have the capacity to stand up projects quickly due to emergency situations like a path or like COVID, or when they come to HSD with a property immediately available to meet emergency need like Spirit Village, Lakefront, and so forth. And they said that Lehigh became involved in tiny house village programs in 2015, 2016, goes on there. Then it says in 2018, HSD invited service providers to attend an information session to learn more about tiny house village model in preparation for opening True Hope, Lake Union, and Whittier villages for Path to 500 effort. As a result, 2 agencies showed interest, Lehigh as an operator for all 3, and Lifelong, who request to be considered as a behavioral health partner. So what they're saying is yes, that this Lehigh did get a no bid contract because they met certain criteria that was already pre-standing. So I guess in that sense, and so far, everybody's right. And then there's no bid. But then also what the city is saying is they didn't create the policy, that Lehigh qualified for the existing policy to be able to get no bid. I just do my job and follow up, man. You know what I'm saying? And, big shout out. I forget who it was. Was it Peggy who made the comment? And Kamaria Hightower over at the mayor's office for getting right back to us. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to be able to use a platform to shed light on a lot of processes and things that happen that folks don't know about. So it's great that Kamaria was able to, send back, hey, this is why that is, now the folks have more insight.
Yeah, and I think that, people, if this is something that works and the system is there and this is the current infrastructure, people might want to look at that infrastructure and see how whatever they're doing might align with a system that's already working. Don't worry, I'm not all for change things too. You know what I'm saying? It's going to work, for whatever, but I'm just pointing it out. The other thing is, called Brandon Hersey yesterday. School board director for district. Man, there's so many districts out there. I want to say 2. It's 2 or 7. I think it's 7. Okay, Hersey is 7. School board director for District 7. I asked Director Hersey, like, what's the story as far as people wanting the superintendent to resign? At the moment, he doesn't have any comment because he said he needs to check with, whoever legally and everything else. But just letting everybody know, we did reach out to the school board director whose district has the most Black kids in it, and that's Director Hersey. And we're waiting to see if he'll be able to make a comment. What else did I have over here before we go in the video? Oh, I didn't greet everybody properly. Again, thank you. We want to thank you to everybody who's joining us right here in Seattle, Tacoma, Everett, across Western Washington. We're creeping across the border down there into Portland, and other areas in the Northwest. And also, people hit us up. We got people from Vashon Island. So big shout out to Vashon Island, Kitsap County. We had some people hit us up from over in Kitsap County, over in Spokane, all the way over in Boise. So we appreciate you viewing. This is a good opportunity right now before we jump into it for you to tag and share the stream. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and tag and share with someone who could appreciate hearing from us what's going on here in the city. And actually, let's see here. We're going to go to the mayor and a few other things, and then we're going to come. And Besa just popped on, and then we're going to talk to her. So Mayor Durkin, this was actually 2 days ago, but we're getting around to it today, is that Mayor Durkin announced a flu vaccination program. It's like 3,800 free vaccinations for those most in need. And they're worried because the signs of COVID and the signs of the flu kind of match each other. And so there's a concern about trying to get people vaccinated so they're not hitting the hospital, maybe thinking they got COVID, they got the flu. Here's Mayor Durkin.
The City of Seattle is partnering with the Seattle Visiting Nurses Association. You're going to hear from Jake on what they're doing to provide nearly 3,800 free flu vaccinations for people in the City of Seattle who are uninsured. Beginning tomorrow and on Friday, October 31, also known as Halloween, the City of Seattle will host vaccination clinics from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. at Genesee Park in South Seattle. We will have language access available for people. We use some of our CARES Act funding to purchase the vaccinations. And over the next week, dozens of clinics will be hosted from the Central District to Southwest Seattle at Seattle Public Schools.
All right, rolling out some vaccinated. Do you get vaccinated, Trina?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not, I won't even give the genesis as to why, but no, I've never done a flu vaccination. But hey, I'm not discouraging people either. Especially if you're in that population where flu can really bring you down, or flu actually kills a lot of people every year. So the City of Seattle, we wanted to put that out first before we hop into all these other things. The City of Seattle, free vaccinations starting October 31st. You heard out there, Rainier. You can get more information. You go to the city website, but also the South Seattle Emerald. There's an article up there about the vaccinations and where people can go. That's southseattleemerald.com. Next up here, Council Member Morales. We haven't said the council member's name in a while, but Council Member Morales popped up there on Beacon Hill and had a conversation. It's about this HOPE program. I'm looking for more information on it. I reached out to them. But basically, around homelessness, the homelessness issue is still here. And maybe that's why, not to deviate, but maybe that's why somebody like me is keeping an eye on the ball, because just putting money somewhere, we've put a lot of money into homelessness, and the homelessness issue persists here. So, when we talk about this investments and everything else, it's like, man, money without the proper plan, sometimes we find ourselves, back at square one. But Councilmember Morales popped up at the station yesterday and was there with Luis and a few other people from the area there in District 2, and had a conversation about the homeless issue. Just got a small clip right here.
Thank you all for being here. We're here because we want to talk about how the city has been responding to homelessness, and what you think the city should be doing better.
I truly believe that what our city is doing with our homeless is kind of disgusting. We have about 10,000, over 10,000 homelessness around the King County area, and it's probably going to grow even bigger with the pandemic that is happening. We live in a city with so much money, and we should not be dealing with this. They should not be dealing with this. It's sad that the cold is coming, the cold weather is coming, and there's no bathrooms for them. There's no shelters for them. I think that the city of Seattle could do better. I think that they need a lot of help. They're part of our community, and it's pretty sad to know that a lot of these folks are really suffering out there. It sucks for me as a business owner because I would love to have them, use the bathroom, but with the pandemic, it's very dangerous for everyone. So, I wish that there would be places for them to use the bathroom and stuff, and I feel awful for these folks. A lot of these folks are kids, moms, women, and this notion of believing and this notion of the narrative of homelessness is a lot of these folks are drug addicts is not true. And I feel that we need to change the narrative.
All right. So a few things to unpack there. I think everybody can agree homelessness is definitely a problem here in Seattle and across King County. Another thing that Luis pointed out is that, traditionally over the past few years, people were like, well, people are homeless. A lot of them were addicted, mental issues, things like that, which is true. There is a percentage of the population that's out there on the streets that have substance abuse or addiction issues or mental health issues. But there's more and more people who are just displaced and from their home. We talked about last week or 2 weeks ago how Seattle's had the highest rent rise of any city in America over the last 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, him, really highlighting that, spotlighting that is on the money. I think that we see a lot of narratives get kind of miscued in is maybe some major media channels or what rises to the top of general discourse. But I think he's absolutely right that there is a wide variety of why families, young folks, elders find themselves in homelessness situations. And I think it's important that we uplift that. And I agree with him on changing the narrative.
Yeah, I mean, we see, like I said, there's a lot of people being displaced and because there's just a lot of people out of work. And people just, we see it. We see businesses going out of business. We see people who just can't work and some everything else. Speaking of businesses going out of business, Besa caught up with Steve and Severin, who people, especially around Seattle and the nightlife scene, they know Steve Severin. He owns quite a few venues, operates venues. And, that's a big thing with the venue owners is they haven't been in business since March. And, there's a big fear that they're just going to go out of business. But anyways, I'm stealing Besa's thunder. Let me let her tell you here real quick. Besa. Oh, we can't hear you. Hold on. You got to unmute yourself. Let me see. You see how you do me on live TV? Hey, well, what's up, Besa? So first of all, let us officially welcome you to Team Converge. How are you?
Yes, welcome, Besa.
I mean, I feel like it's about time I popped up enough. I'm excited. Like I actually wanted to be a part of Converge a little while ago, and to finally get the call, I'm like, don't mind if I do.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Go ahead, tell us about it.
Well, basically, the segment that I'm going to be doing is going to be called The Rewind with Besa. And for the first segment, I wanted to get in with Steven Severin from Keep Music Alive, just because when I saw that big billboard on Numos, I was like, what the heck is going on around here? And so my friend Key Porter was saying, when you see those signs, typically it means that the building is going to be taken down. And this is the time for you to call, get in contact with the building, try to save it. And so their whole point is, and we'll obviously get into that with this clip, is look, we're letting you guys know this is happening before it really gets to this point. And if you want to save these venues, do something now. So yeah, that's going to be what Steven talks about in this clip.
Yeah. So the whole idea with those big, I mean, they're banners, billboards, whatever you want to call them, was the idea of like a land use action sign. So it's like you see those signs go up on buildings. It's like, okay, this is going down and it's going to become condos. So many times you see people go and be like, oh, this went away and we didn't know that we could do something. And it's like, okay, we're telling you ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the reality of what's going on. I mean, the quick and dirty is like on March 11th, we had our last show and we shut down. We knew that things were going to be rough. We knew we were going to be closed for a while. We had no idea we were going to be closed this long. So what I did was I picked up the phone and I started calling all these other music venue owners and was like, hey, what are we going to do? Like, this is going to go on for months. What are we going to do? And on April 1st, we formed this organization called Washington Nightlife and Music Association, which will continue for years on. And it's going to basically use the Washington people and the government to continue to push the music industry forward. So with doing all of that, we decided that we were going to do this campaign called Keep Music Live. And that's got launched on Tuesday. And we launched it with those billboards going up. We worked with this great group called World Famous that helped us come up with the idea and the design. And we put them on 10 different buildings across the state because this is a statewide thing. Like, it's not just a Seattle thing. This is all across the state. And so now we're just trying to raise money to be able to stay open.
All right, Besa.
I'm glad you're today.
Yeah, look at you know. So every time, you know, I be outnumbered on here. So every time I'm outnumbered, you know what happens is it's just time for Black Girl Magic.
I knew you were gonna do that. But he can't even get the word out. Black Girl Magic.
I'm out.
So, what's the goal? Like, so I mean, they've got Keep Music Live. Washington, but what's the main goal? What are they trying to do? How much money are they trying to raise? You know, how big is their goal? What are they trying to achieve? Where are they at?
If you ask me, they have a big goal, but I think it could honestly be bigger. They're trying to raise about $10 million right now because at the end of the day, yes, they have those PPE loans, but you can't actually use those if you are, one, not in business, and you, two, do not have a staff. And being that they need to be open about 80% of the time in order to pay their bills, they're not able to be open right now. So on top of that, these businesses are now going into debt because they haven't been able to make any money for the last 7 months. And apparently there's like a law in Washington where right now we're not allowed to have any musical events that's like in person. So it's put them in a really big bind. So they're trying to raise $10 million. A big thing that they really need, though, if you ask me, and he also talked about this last night, they need the big corporations to step up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're getting, you know, I don't know, I want to say it's like merchandise or whatever because he said he's getting a drink for illusion, but Amazon could easily write like $2 million and write it off. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what they need.
Right. I encourage people to check out this interview. It'll be up later on today and we'll put it out on the social media because when I listened to it, he was like, hey, you know, it's the nightlife culture that made Seattle desirable to a lot of the people these big organ companies recruited to move here. So he's like, yo, break bread. I think he also talked about there's lots of red tape involved as well. There's people on the philanthropy level, but there's a lot of red tape around it. How can people get up with Keep Music Live Washington?
So if you want to do your donations, definitely go to keepmusiclive.wa.com. You can also keep up with them on all of their social media pages, which is Keep Music Live. Yeah, do your part, you guys, because let's be frank, Seattle already doesn't have enough venues for music. We do not need more apartment buildings. I'm just saying.
All right, Besa, thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward to the Rewind from Besa every week right here. A segment in the morning update show and the full interview online.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Besa.
All right. Man, Besa always brings a lot of great energy.
Gotta love it, man. You know I do.
Yeah. So, okay, moving along here, the Seattle Police Department, Chief Diaz. Let me grab this here. Chief Diaz, they hopped on the Twitter machine yesterday down there at Police HQ and released a statement here. And actually, we'll play Chief Diaz. It's about a minute, and then we'll talk about it.
Hello, I'm Adrian Diaz, Chief of the Seattle Police Department. I wanted to update the community on our continuing efforts to address equity, justice, and community engagement. Today, the Seattle Police Department and the Center for Police and Equity are formally announcing their partnership to launch the CompStat for Justice model. The Center for Police and Equity uses science to measure systemic bias and develop strategies to stop it. Under the CompStat for Justice model, the Center for Police and Equity will work with the Seattle Police Department and other cities to reduce and eliminate racial disparities and strengthen community trust. SPD has been engaged with CPE for years and is excited to take this next step. This relationship will help support the work outlined in Mayor Durkin's Community Safety Executive Order. This is just one step in the work we will all be doing to re-envision community safety together. I'm committed and excited to continue this essential work. We look forward to your participation and input. We could not do this without you. Thank you.
All right, Chief looked real relaxed right there. Anyways, SPD partners with Center for Police and Equity, and it's saying here the Seattle Police Department, like you heard Chief say, is launched an important new partnership. And basically, the Center for Policing Equity is a Los Angeles-based research and advocacy organization that produces analysis to identify and reduce causes of racial disparities in policing. And this is a part of the Community Safety Executive Order. So SPD is partnering with an advocacy group that a research group that basically tries to identify the causes of the racial disparities in policing. What are your thoughts, Trina?
I think again, a good step in the right direction. Anything that looks like innovative change and innovative measure, maybe trying something new, testing something out. For me right now, I mean, I think that's, I'll just say for me, I think it's a step in the right direction. Again, I think largely the community wants, more, but this is kind of it. You start to get it. And then I think over time, you have something that's different, new, innovative, inclusive. There could be maybe more in terms of, collaboration with community, but ultimately, I mean, steps in the right direction, though.
Right. Well, so I see a few things probably here is that one, what everybody is saying is they want data and research. Right. And so my understanding is that this organization is going to identify and help to reduce the causes of racial disparities. But they are a research group first, and then they take their research, their data, and then they advocate around it. And also, Kevin Schofield mentioned something when we were talking about data that the SPD keeps or tracks, and he talks about how they track Terry stops, but there's a lot of other stuff that isn't necessarily tracked under the consent decree. So this might present an opportunity to be able to get more data. And remember, that's what led to this huge disproportion. Black people make up like 7% of the population and like 40% of certain kinds of tickets, traffic stops, and everything else. But the information isn't necessarily tracked in the best way currently at SPD. So, I think that anything that's creating more data that the public can access is probably a good thing, but we'll see how it rolls. Next up, this is something that is kind of, just kind of two sides on it. Well, it's just one side of it, basically. But Geek City, Seattle Times, 1 in 5 Seattle residents work in STEM fields. It's the top in the USA, is right here what they're saying in the Seattle Times. And they're saying here, where is my page 2 on this? What they're saying here is that the majority of the jobs, a big jump of the jobs here, man, is STEM. And the reason why this jumped out to me, though, is this something that we already knew, but it's something that despite, and there's also an article that's not in here today, but it says that Microsoft struggles to hire Blacks and Latinos. And one of the things we've been talking about in the Central District for years is these STEM jobs and, this gig economy that Black people are missing out on.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really the premise of the William Grove Center, what is now Fire Station 6. And I'll just say that that's what it's about. It's about creating this pipeline, because if Seattle can be the top city in the United States where 1 in 5 people hold STEM jobs, and we know that there is a huge disparity in terms of Black and brown folks holding those STEM positions, then yeah, we need to create more pipelines to get our communities included in that large sector of economy that we have right here. It is a major, major deal. And when we talk about economic reform, we do definitely have to think about creating an ecosystem that really produces young Black students, brown students with the aptitude to be able to go into these STEM fields. That is really the premise of William Grove Center. So I'm excited to see that project really come to fruition, because there definitely needs to be more of these kind of opportunities for young people to be experienced, to be in the environment of technology. Right now there's a huge void of that. So I think it lends itself to that disparity. And I think it is also important that these tech companies that have made Seattle their home base, that have, had a very strong financial base here in Seattle, that they also reach out to community to figure out how they can be a part of that process. You're muted.
Apparently they've been reaching out to community for decades, but we don't really see it moving. But I mean, this is what our No Excuses platform is all about. We getting ready to take away the excuse. A lot of people, they're saying they can't find this and can't find that. But No Excuses is really for today. But the long-term solution is really to get Black kids into the STEM, get them excited about these types of jobs and these career paths early on. And so, they're excited about it, and they're so excited in high school, and they go on to college, and after college, then they get one of these jobs. That's the long term. And what one of those jobs, now they're making the money, they go move back to the CD, you know what I'm saying? Invest, they can open a business and everything else. So there's a short term, as in like, man, let's ramp up some of these jobs out here. But the long-term solution clearly is creating that pipeline. Yeah. What else do we have? I'm gonna just throw this up here. See what your thoughts are real quick. So 50 Cent says, I don't want to be 20 Cent under the Biden tax plan. You see, your president, Donald J. Trump, he's the one who tweeted this out. 50 Cent, 50 Cent was saying, like, under Biden, he's gonna lose money, and so he's like, he's not for Biden. And I don't have the exact quote on me, so I don't want to go too far down that road. But basically, he's like, yeah, he's gonna lose money, so he's not with it.
At the end of the day, I think that everybody's going to have their own personal reasons for why they're voting. Again, we talked about, Black folks not being a monolith. We talked about the fact that, Joe Biden can't assume he just has the Black vote because of whatever folks are feeling are these atrocities of President Donald J. Trump. But ultimately, this is a wide variety. We see it every year of a presidential election, where you see these vast amounts of people on opposite sides. And you're like, whoa, I didn't think 50 Cent would say that. So is he going to vote for Donald Trump? Like, is he for Trump? I mean, but again, it's just one of those things that really out there.
50's one person I could really see saying that. Now, speaking of presidents, the presidential debate is tonight. I think it's at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 6 to 7:30. I don't know. I saw the first one. The second one, or dueling town halls, I skipped. This is supposed to be the last debate. But we've got Mike Davis and Julia Jesse. They're gonna do their post-debate analysis tonight at 7:30. So we want to make sure everybody checks back in with us, see how we can, we'll put our converged look at the debates. Of course, Mike Davis from the South Seattle Emerald and Julia Jesse from Converge Media. Both very opinionated and outspoken around politics. So 7:30 tonight, right after the debate, we'll be going live with post-debate analysis. Are you going to watch the debate?
I might, you know what I mean? I like to tune in a little, you know, we do this show and it'd be a lot of politics for me. And then do I have to do that in my personal time? I mean, I'm trying to be educated. So I'll definitely tune in.
So I'm going to try something here. And if you guys at home can't tell, I'm flying solo this morning because Nikki Barron is out on assignment. But this came out yesterday. It's called Mob Rule in Seattle. Can we see it there? Let me try to. Bear with me, everybody. Let me try to put this on the full screen over here. Oh, I got to do it one more time. So this video came out, and I believe the director is the same director who made Seattle is Dying. And in this video, there's, it's somebody who actually lived through this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? The protest chop. There's a lot of different points in this video that I could like bring up or whatever. And, as somebody who's in this film, we create short films, we create news, we create whatever. I'm not like going down that path of like hating on somebody's work or anything like that. But there is one thing in here. Yeah, there's really a lot I could say. But there's one thing in here that I wanted to play and point out.
Of City Hall and police headquarters, and it was a very peaceful gathering. There were a lot of actually good speakers that I agreed with a lot of different points that they made. I had a little bit of hope in the beginning that, maybe Seattle will be different. Maybe Seattle will break the trend. And then that march went and met up with a bigger rally that was at Westlake Park. And that's where it really turned. I did not recognize.
All right, here's what I want to point out right here. What he said was that the first march was peaceful march that was down there at City Hall, and some of the speakers even said some inspiring things. Then that march left and met up with another a protest that was down at Westlake Park, and that's where things popped off. Absolutely incorrect. And we need to nip this in the bud right now. The Black community, including Andre Taylor, who's also on this film, Andre Taylor, the black ministers, White King Garrett, my brother, Shakundi Salisbury. There was a peaceful protest at Westlake Park, and it started peacefully and it ended 10 minutes before the curfew came on. And we got video of all those black people who came there peacefully in Westlake Park, and they left right there on Pike Street, and they walked on Pine Street, and they walked right out. They walked, and even when the cars were on fire and everything else, those black people stayed right there in Westlake Park and protested peacefully. And it's disingenuous, and I'm tired of this because it's always like the protest downtown devolved into chaos. Nah, man, let's be clear. The black community came down there, protested peacefully in Westlake Park, and it started peacefully and it ended peacefully. And it's disingenuous for people to keep trying to say that that's not what happened. We got it on video. I'm gonna have Jake and Bobby pull out all the archives, because I remember saying like, well, there goes the black people leaving Westlake Park, and they walked out with their banners and everything, and they left right before the curfew came into play. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, man,
I was there. I was one of those black people. We were right there on the stage giving a report. Nana Kabibi did a piece for the elders. We were people. We were putting our notice out there for the city. We were letting them know that we were going to stay peaceful. We already know we don't have the luxury. I just got to say this. I got to say it publicly. Black people do not have the luxury to destroy property like that, to go out in masses, in mass groups with all black on, and to create chaos. We don't have that luxury. Look at us getting shot in the streets by police, getting killed in our own communities. We don't even think that that's something we need to go out there and do. So I just got to make people understand when we're talking about, and this is, I'll say this is where maybe there is a bit of a monolith with black folks, because we don't do that really. We go out, we know we got to be together. We don't want the police trying to come and kill us. We don't want some white supremacist person looking at us threatening. We are always trying to protect ourselves from being looked at as threats. So this right here, I'm glad you mentioned this, because we definitely need to,
I mean, I call it out. There's a lot of other stuff like in this film, and it's his take on the thing. everything. So it's like, man, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to really like, you know, disinformation about our community, you know what I'm saying? Specifically, like dudes in here like, oh, these people are Antifa, those people are whatever, man, whatever. But when it comes to talking about us black folks who came down here, you know what I'm saying, in the Westlake and peacefully, like our community elders was out there. Like you said,
Right.
Donna Kabibi, we had elders out there in walkers
Yeah,
and in
but we were
wheelchairs
taking
and
our
everything else. Yeah, and they came together and left together. And all you heard, every speaker who was up there was like, don't be distracted, because the cars were on fire. There was tear gas. There was flashbangs. If anything, the black community should be recognized for their courage under fire, for their discipline. That all chaos, all hell was breaking loose in downtown Seattle. And the black community that came there to protest peacefully came together and stayed together. And it's disingenuous for anybody to say that, it turned violent. No, let's be clear. There was 2 different protests going on. And that's what people need to say. They need to be clear about that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to let anybody, all this other stuff, these people talking these films, you go do it. But you ain't going to throw my neighborhood under the bus, our community, our leaders, our elders, you know what I'm saying, who came out there and did exactly what they were supposed to do. Twice. They peacefully at City Hall, peacefully in Westlake. You know what I'm saying? Don't put the chaos on our community.
Right. And, yeah, once again, and I'll say this, we were in a band. Everybody was like, all right, what we doing? We getting out of here. Nobody was like, oh, they got the cars on fire. Let's go over there and see what's popping up. Oh,
everybody
chaos. Man, we weren't off that. So I just want to make that clear. I'm glad you pointed this out. Oh.
Man, yeah, I had to get that one out, man. So anyways, you know, what's it called again? It's a mob rule in Seattle. That's out. You guys take a look at it yourself. But we always gonna call it like how we see it. We're gonna take a short break right now, and I think what we need on this show right now, Trina, is some love. We don't got worked up. We got Carlos Imani coming in right after the break. He's talking about Vote Black Love 2020. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
My parents coming over here as refugees meant that they didn't really have anything when they came to America. Having reliable healthcare and having a reliable doctor was really important. 共đồng của tôi, trạm y tế của tôi.
我的社区，我的诊所。Mi comunidad, mi clínica.
بلشدة هي بقارها.
My community, my clinic.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I want to thank everybody who's gone on whereweconverge.com/donate, donating to the cause. You know what I'm saying? You can go there, one-time donation. You can become a subscriber on Patreon, everything else. Appreciate you. Welcoming Carlos Imani.
What up? What up? What up?
What up, bro?
Man, it's been an intense morning. I've been sitting here watching you guys chilling in the green room, like woo.
We hoping you can bring some love. Like, were you in the bunker? Oh, okay, you're in your studio over there.
Yeah.
You know, when we got it all squeezed up like this, it's like, man, where's this guy at?
Yeah, send something for me. Get me out of here.
All right. So, Carlos Imani, of course, you have your company, your business called the FLVR and Elite Collective, but you're also a producer and director here at Converge Media, and you were actually my very first guest on the Morning Update Show.
Yeah, we go back. I've been a long time supporter of Mr. Salisbury and all your endeavors. Pre-Africa,
now.
post-Africa, and everywhere else, man.
And everywhere in between. So Carlos, quickly, because we spent a lot of time here defending our community, which was important. Right?
Absolutely.
That was the most important thing we could do here. But why don't you tell us briefly about Vote Black Love and this particular couple, the Turners, and then we're going to play the clip and we'll talk about it a little more.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, my background, photo, video, storytelling. You came to me with this idea of like, man, Democratic, Republican, can we trust either one? But what we can trust is voting Black and voting Black love. And it just kind of clicked, you know what I mean? Being able to tell these stories, representation matters. We talk about that all the time in media and all these different things. And it's like, one of those ideas is that there isn't Black love. There's all these destroyed families. And we're like, nah, we're going to stop that narrative. We're going to go out here to the community and shed a light and showcase some of these amazing people we have in and around the Seattle area. And it's like, what are we, like 12% of the state? And it's like, but we're still here. We still have some great stories. So basically it's just a visual story telling campaign, again, aimed at highlighting African-American couples in the Seattle area. And rebuffing the daily narrative that Black people aren't getting married, that we're not raising happy and healthy families. So we're falling back in Black love.
All right, let's play this clip right here. And this is the Turners. You'll tell us about the Turners on the other side.
Yeah.
The Turners.
Hi, we're the Turners. My name is Vicky Turner.
My name is Marlon Turner. We met on the campus of University of Louisiana Monroe, and was, immediately attracted. Come on.
I'm just kidding.
Black marriage, man, and Black love is really important. Seeing this, kind of the building of the Black family is definitely something that we need to continue. There was a lot of pressure, man, for this engagement, and a lot of pressure.
But love language. So you can't expect every person to do the same thing or do what you want them to do. All you can do is learn again their love language and express the things that you like, and hopefully you guys can meet somewhere in the middle.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like there with the Turners? Were they open or what? Or did you have to pry it out of them?
Yeah, I mean this whole experience. Even watching what you did with the postman and the awesome couple over there. I know them personally, the Turners, so it was kind of an easier conversation, and I know some of that background. So it was actually an awesome story to be able to share with other folks. You know what I mean? They're Black business owners. They're raising 2 young boys. Me and Marlon are also members of the Royal Esquire Club. He goes into that about seeing people that's been together for 30, 40 years. He talks about the Black marriage ball, where you see people, they started, who's the youngest couple? It's like, oh, we just got married 10 days ago. Who's the oldest couple? Oh, we've been together for 68 years. Like, being in a room like that is awesome. So just being able to hear about their whole story of how they met, some tip. Our whole point is we want to get some tips and tricks. What can people pull from that? Communication, different things. And then also, what can we look forward to and just kind of amplify that Black love message? And if they have like a business or something, we want to amplify that as well.
All right. Well, so that's Sunday at 7:00. But it would be a disservice because you're also the producer and director for Chats with Trey. Let me just play this here real quick. We're out of time, but you're here on the screen together. So
Friday.
Coming up this week on Chats with Trey.
This week on Chats with Trey, we got Isaiah Anderson, a beloved community member and definitely somebody y'all have seen on stage, behind the scenes, and in front of the camera. I'm so excited to have him, Isaiah Anderson.
All right. You got Jasper. Look at you taking over the programming over here at Converge, Carlos.
Yeah, playing my part, man. Playing my part.
Thanks, Carlos, for all you do, man. Appreciate you.
We gotta let you go, brother. But again, so that's this Friday at 2:00 with Chats with Trey, and then Sunday at 7:00 Vote Black Love. Vote Black Love, by the way, is building. Do you see how fast? I don't know if you're checking these views and everything over there. Vote Black Love is building. It's one of the fastest. But the actual premiere, the numbers were relatively small because it's a new show and we're promoting it. But once it premiered, people started watching and tagging and sharing and everything else. And I want to acknowledge both of you guys for playing an important role of uplifting. This is what it's about over here at Converge. We're uplifting Black voices. We're uplifting and we're showing another side that you might not see elsewhere. So really appreciate you, Carlos Imani.
No problem. So tune in, guys, and go check that Taco and Tia from last week as well.
All right. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, the conversation continues. You are watching the Morning Update Show.
My parents coming over here as refugees meant that they didn't really have anything when they came to America. Having reliable healthcare and having a reliable doctor was really important. Gongdong kutoy, jam ite kutoy.
我的社区，我的诊所，mi comunidad, mi clínica.
Bulshada iyo bakaraha.
My community, my clinic.
All right, so we've got a few minutes left here today, Trina, and it's been a minute. We used to talk about international stories a lot, especially stories from the continent of Africa. I spent half of my career over there. Big story that's been building is a story out of Nigeria. It started as basically the people standing up against police brutality there, and what people said was a very corrupt police unit, the SARS unit. It's like a special anti-robbery unit that was started in the 80s and was known for notorious crimes. People protested. They took to the streets. President Buhari had dissolved the unit, and man, protests have continued out there in Lagos. And it's crazy because let me see if I can share this. I don't have all of my photos on this one, but I was just there. This is me at the airport in Lagos. Somebody's gonna be like, "See, O's friendly with the police," but that's me at the airport in Lagos in December. And actually, there are some other pictures here. My daughter, me and Acacia, we were out there for 2 weeks in Lagos at an event. And let me see what else I got here. This is, that's the other direction. Sorry. This is that Megan Thee Stallion. I was out there in Lagos. This is a whole nother story, but I'm just saying that this is like this near and dear. This was before Megan Thee Stallion went on stage out there in Lagos. We had put on an event out there. This is Davido. People who follow Afrobeat music, the artist Davido. Me and Davido are good friends. Go back almost like 7-8 years.
I love Davido.
And that's Mace. That's me, and that's Mason Befa walking out of the airport there in Lagos, Nigeria in December. So when we talk about what's going on in Lagos, for me, it's not just, a story or a hashtag or something like that. Lots of some of my best friends in the world are out there in Lagos. But I wanted to play this clip here from, this was ABC News. They aired this last night.
We're following the latest from Lagos, Nigeria, Africa's most populous city, where protests against police brutality and specifically a notorious unit called the Special Anti-Robbery Squad have turned violent with reports of multiple deaths. Video showing armed units firing at groups of protesters, the shocking scenes leading to an international outcry. Our senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell has more.
The terrifying crackle of live rounds piercing the night air in Lekki, a prosperous city in Lagos. Riot police and soldiers firing on unarmed protesters in Nigeria's most populous region.
Please tell people, people are having to run. They're shooting at them at the Lekki toll gate.
It began as a peaceful protest. By the time the night was done, the streets were full of anger, fire and blood. For 2 weeks, Nigerians have been demonstrating against a heavily armed police unit known as SARS. It was set up in the 80s to fight rising crimes and kidnapping. But it became notorious for its abuse of power.
I was in my house sleeping. Around 2 a.m., in the midnight when they came, starting scatter everywhere in my area, starting shooting everywhere.
Amnesty International has accused the group of extortion, torture, and murder. Across the country, people have been taking to the streets peacefully to say enough to police brutality.
We are trying to fight our right. Nobody pay us. We don't want sus. We don't want sus. We don't want anybody.
The young mobilizing. Demanding reform and fair wages in a country that's rich in oil, but where half the population lives in poverty. President Muhammadu Buhari disbanding the unit last week to try to quell the protests, but the deployment of soldiers and other armed forces has only made things worse. As has happened many times before, the police responding with lethal force, with some reports claiming at least a dozen may have been killed. As the ranks of the dead and wounded grows, the tragedy in Lekki has caught the attention of the world. Joe Biden calling for the Nigerian government to cease the violent crackdown on protesters and for the US to stand with Nigerians peacefully demonstrating for police reform. Nigerian celebrities Uzo Aduba and Yvonne Orji and entertainers Wizkid and Jidenna among the many calling for an end to the brutality.
We need a complete dissolution of SARS in all of its forms.
It'll take more than words to bring about meaningful change here, but rarely has the government faced so much pressure to bring the kind of reform Nigerians are dying for. Ian Pannell for ABC News Live.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News.
So, yeah, I mean, so for me, it's like, it's crazy. I was up all last night talking to a lot of my friends over there across different spectrums. And one, most people are saying it's at least 50 people, 50 that were killed. But the thing is that this protest that started against SARS and police brutality is taken on a whole nother layer, because you have literally millions. I mean, Nigeria is Africa's most populous country. It's like 140, 150 million, if not more. Millions of people who, generation after generation have put up with basically a lot of crap. And you got this young generation that's out there who, I mean, they're in the streets. They're like, man, we're not taking it anymore. And I'll be honest, so I got friends across the spectrum out there, from some that are very wealthy, billionaire status, and some that are waiters or drivers. And in talking to both, you find that, man, everybody's at home right now. Nobody's in the streets. There is no real police presence. I mean, they're deploying the army or something to try to bring it down. But to be honest with you, it's a difficult situation because there's so many people. I think only an army could do is secure infrastructure. I mean, so we're keeping an eye on it over there, but I mean, it's definitely something that's weighing heavy on it.
Well, I know it is. I mean, when I heard about this story, I thought about you today, because I went, man, knows so many people down there. Spent so much time, part of your career, so many connections. And we see that this is really creating another global uprising, where folks are, across the world are standing in solidarity with, our Nigerian brothers and sisters with the hashtag #EndSARS. I know there's going to be a peaceful protest at Westlake Park on 1 p.m. on Sunday. Again, just about this, because, when we see this kind of injustice, I mean, we saw one person being murdered by his, a knee on his neck for almost 9 minutes, right? But almost 50 people, they're just walking around just shooting peaceful protesters. It's what happened in Kenosha, exponentially, basically, to say that maybe 50 people are killed. This is a grave example of misjustice. And unfortunately, once again, folks are going to have to stand in solidarity here to say, we over here, even in America, we don't agree with those kind of tactics, man.
Yeah, and I believe when my guys over there tell me that, I mean, they sent me some of these videos, which clearly I can't even put on here. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough situation. So, invite, man, please, man, pray for Nigeria. It's becoming a more and more complex situation by the day. Like I said, the SARS unit was dissolved. The President Buhari dissolved the SARS unit, but the issue was always much bigger than the police. The police were the flashpoint. That was the final flashpoint. I think even you can draw some comparison here to the U.S. Although clearly we're not seeing here what we're seeing in Nigeria, was that in a lot of communities it's a built up thing. It was in lack of access, inequality, and all these other things. And then George Floyd was like the spark. And so, the SARS unit over there in Lagos across Nigeria was the spark, but there's been, decades and decades and decades of underlying issues. And it looks like those issues are now coming to the forefront. So definitely gonna keep an eye on it.
Yeah, for sure. Another way for us to be educated in global matters, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, looks like we're gonna get out of here on time today. Huh? We're working on that. So again, tonight, 7:30 tonight after the debate, you can join Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald and Julia Jesse of Converge Media as they give some post-debate feedback and analysis. Any last words, Trey, before we get out of here?
You know what? Just excited. I want people to check in again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Chats with Trey, Isaiah Anderson. Here we are already. It's Friday Eve, bro. I can't believe we're already at, almost at Friday. So excited to get this week rolling, man.
All right. Well, there it is. Until tomorrow at 11 a.m. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on.